What do you think, my lovely cupcakes? Should we just read by candlelight, or would a light help? Hello, my lovely cupcakes. Elsie Rowe here, and welcome back to our lovely show. On today's episode, I will be telling you all about my one night at Universal Horror Night. I am here to tell you all about it. Ready? We started our night by entering a demented garden. It was filled with monstrous crows, terrifying gargoyles, and stone statues. The statues were featuring the heads of the haunts that awaited us inside the park. And of course, I was drawn to the Freddy Fazbear one. He was glaring down at us, daring us to visit his haunted house. The crow monsters were towering over our heads, and they had bright, glowing red eyes, and their rib cages were out on full display. The gargoyles at first would remain perfectly still until the moment that you came closer. Then the stone beasts would beat their wings and slash their claws through the air. With the creatures dancing around my guide and I, the flashing lights and the moon high in the sky, I was in my own personal heaven. It was all wonderfully horrifying, and I loved it. I couldn't always tell who was a scare actor and who was a guest like me. There were cosplayers, goths, and wonderful scare actors surrounding me in the crowd. It all filled the air with this contagious excitement. It was wonderful. Before we dared enter the Five Nights at Freddy's haunted house, we braved the scare zones. We didn't get to all of them, but this is what we saw. First was the Mutant 20s. A getaway robbery car had crashed into a delivery truck. The truck was carrying an experimental rat poison. The collision had splattered that poison, the neon green slime, everywhere on the money from the runaway car, from the robbery car, the city streets, and the people wandering their city. The flappers, gangsters, regular citizens, all were left with neon slime forming to spores, forming into claws, into new heads, into melting jaws. The whole zone was the aftermath of that fateful car crash. There was smoke in the air, barrels of poison sprayed everywhere, scare actors scrambling, either begging for help or snarling. They were too far gone from the poison. There were even newsstands declaring how the poison was corrupting us all, and others that were saying how the manufacturers of said poison were at no fault at all. The set design, the costuming, and the acting were immaculate. It was all consuming. Keep that in mind, my loves, because that trend stays throughout all of Universal Horror Night. The next zone was a whole island crawling with chainsaw-wielding clowns. It felt like the terrifying creatures never stopped laughing or revving their chainsaws. The gothic clowns had me leaping in the air. I didn't catch the story of that zone because I was trying not to run away. We didn't get much of a reprieve, for our next zone was right around the corner. It was called the Cat Lady of Crooked Lane. It's okay. Her cabin stand at the top of the hill, surrounded by tunnels with slashed curtains and giant balls of yarn. Story goes that noisy children on Halloween night would flock to the old woman's door, seeking her legendary treats. The children came with toys and joy, only to leave snarling, completely transformed. The lady had poisoned the children with a witch's brew. Once the children took her treat, the children were transformed into monsters, human-sized cats with beady eyes, bloody jaws, and razor-sharp claws. Children's laughter, their screams of their transformation, and the new monsters' yowls echoed down Crooked Lane. The streets were filled with cat monsters. Abandoned toys, jack-o'-lanterns, and balls of yarn littered the floor. Completing the look were giant storybooks, open and displaying the twisted tale of a witch, missing children, and the monstrous cats that haunted Crooked Lane. For our last scare zone, I fully admit I wasn't watching for the story. My attention was dedicated solely to the scene itself. I was struck by how beautiful the scare actors and the set design was. We had walked into a macabre castle where the guests were wearing breathtaking gowns and suits, donned with dark masks, dripping with jewels. The guests dance around us in a slow ballroom state. Orchestra music and stained glass windows, candelabras completed the whole scene. We had stepped into a masquerade of death. For you see, under those beautiful masks were razor-sharp fangs. All of the dancers were vampires who were just waiting for the perfect moment to feast. I know deep in my very soul, if those vampires had been real, I would have been an eager volunteer for whatever they needed me to do. It was enchanting and completely petrifying. Then, my guide and I went to the original reason why I flew to Florida for that night. The Five Nights at Freddy's haunted house. I will hold back my full thoughts for that experience for a later day. I will say, though, by the time we finished the house, I was completely speechless. I couldn't even form a thought. I was blown away by how lifelike it had been. My guide was an angel and knew just what I needed. They took me to Universal's pizza restaurant that had been revamped to an actual Freddy Fazbear's pizzeria. We ate meatball spaghetti pizza and drank Freddy Fizz. For dessert, we had one of Chica's famous cupcakes. Once I had food, I found my voice. I suddenly couldn't stop talking. I went on and on about that whole wonderful house, the set design, the puppets, and the ghost animatronic children, the ghost actors, the scare actors, I should say. It was just so amazing. I have so much more to say, but it will have to wait for its own video. I'm not done yet, my loves. My guide had one last surprise for me. We saw this show, a demented Circus du Soleil fire spectacular. The show was called Nightmare Fuel, the Circus of Decay. Our story takes place at a cursed circus, where the star of the show tragically dies at the end of each show. The circus is trapped in a time loop that repeats each time our star is killed. The whole show is filled with saw-like death traps, intense dancing, and fire and magic. The ringmaster of the circus doesn't want to break the time loop. She doesn't want her party to end. The star's true love, however, wanted to save her from her fate. He has failed to save her 1,000 times. But tonight, he would break the time loop and save her. Topped off with a wonderful soundtrack and incredible physical performances. Nightmare Fuel, the Circus of Decay, was magnificent. We finished our night, a Universal Horror Night, with one more walkthrough of the Five Nights at Freddy's haunted house. And some shopping to memorialize such a wonderful trip. I will show you all what I got on a later day. For now, I will finish this video by saying, I absolutely loved my night at Universal Horror Night. I will definitely attend again, hungry for more. Thank you, my lovely cupcakes, for watching this episode of our show. I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you've seen Universal Horror Night or been to any of the events, tell me all about them. I will see you next time on our lovely show. I hope you enjoy this first episode of our YouTube Takeover. Goodbye.